There is a law the mind obeys even when the mind denies it. Whatever you refuse to acknowledge in yourself does not disappear. It descends. And in the dark below your waking thoughts, it grows more organized, more patient, and more powerful than anything you consciously carry. Carl Jung called this the great wound of the modern mind. He watched patients arrive having spent years suppressing what they feared most, and watched those same fears return as compulsions, as illness, as the behavior of enemies they could not release from their thoughts. Refusal is not a cure. It is a feeding. An older tradition named the mechanism before Jung was born. The Hermetic Principle of Polarity states that opposites are not different things. They are the same thing at different intensities. What you despise in another person and what you carry unnamed in yourself are one force, moving between two poles. This is not philosophy. This is the architecture of your fate. What you have refused to name in yourself has not been waiting. It has been governing. Your choices, your repeated patterns, your losses, the enemies you cannot release from thought. These are not random. They are the refused self made legible. The mind you are aware of is not the whole mind. It is an adder. From the moment you are young enough to feel judgment, you learn which qualities are acceptable and which are not. You keep what earns approval. You discard what does not. But discarding is not destroying. The qualities that go below are not evil. They are the ones that frighten someone with power over you. Your rage when you were small and powerless. Your desire when you were told desire was something to be ashamed of. Your arrogance when arrogance was punished. Every refusal begins with someone else's fear. This is where the Hermetic Principle of Polarity becomes precise. To refuse a quality with intensity is to be in an intense relationship with it. The mind that refuses rage is thinking about rage. Thinking about rage is feeding rage. The refusal and the thing refused are not separate. They are one. Below the threshold of conscious thought, the refused quality does not sit idle. It begins to organize. It recruits memories that confirm it. It builds arguments. It maps every moment in your history where this quality was present but unnamed. When you are not watching, it is cataloging. Jung watched this process in the clinic over 40 years. A man who refused to name his cruelty became cruel in ways he could not explain. A woman who refused her ambition became unable to function near anyone who displayed it. The refused quality was not absent. It was running the life. The degree of your refusal is the degree of power you hand it. A mild discomfort keeps a quality small. A ferocious, years-long refusal, one you would defend with anger, has been feeding that quality for years. What you fight most fiercely, you nourish most thoroughly. Time does not weaken what you have refused. Time strengthens it. Every year the refused self accumulates more evidence, more texture, more precision about who you are and what you carry. It grows patient in a way the conscious mind cannot. It has nowhere to be, and so it waits. But a thing that waits does not wait forever. And the refused self, now organized, now precise, now carrying a full catalog of your history, eventually moves. Not toward you, into the world, into the faces of the people you cannot release from your thoughts. This is where it becomes your fate. The refused self does not announce its departure. You do not feel it leave. One day a person enters your life and you cannot explain the force of your reaction to them. The aversion is too large for what has happened. The irritation lands too fast and stays too long. This is projection. Jung named it precisely. When a quality lies below your awareness, the mind must place it somewhere it can see it. It moves the refused quality outward. It installs it in the person before you. You then see in them what you have refused to name in yourself. Think of the person you cannot release from your thoughts. Not someone you love. Someone who troubles you. Someone whose behavior you have replayed 100 times. That person is not living rent-free in your mind by accident. They are carrying the precise shape of what you exiled. The violence of your reaction is the most important clue you have ever been given. Not the mildest irritations, not the passing annoyances. The ones that seize you. The ones where the feeling arrives before reason does. Those are precise. The size of the reaction is the size of the exile. The principle of polarity confirms the mechanism. An intense aversion is an intense relationship. Intensity is not distance from a thing, it is proximity to it. You cannot feel strongly about what is truly foreign to you. What seizes you belongs to you. The force of the hatred is the measure of the bond. Your enemies are not your opposites. They are your autobiography. Every person whose arrogance has made you furious carries the arrogance you buried in yourself as a child. Every coward you cannot forgive is showing you the cowardice you were punished for feeling. They are you seen from a distance you made necessary. Every person who triggers you is a different exiled quality made visible. Your world is not a random collection of people and events. It is sorted. The qualities you refused in childhood have sorted it. The people who appear in your life with the power to disturb you are not there by chance. Jung watched analysts resist this recognition. They would arrive with a theory about a difficult person in their life and defend it with precision. The more elaborate the case against the other person, the more Jung understood which quality the analyst had refused to name in themselves. Elaborateness is exile made argumentative. The world has not been doing things to you. The world has been showing you yourself. Every conflict, every person who stirred a feeling too large for the circumstances, every recurring pattern of loss or betrayal, these were not misfortunes. They were a portrait of what you would not claim. And now you stand at the threshold of the most difficult question the alchemists ever posed. Not why does this keep happening to me, but what does this keep showing me? Because the alchemist does not look away from what the refused self reveals. They descend toward it. That descent is the work. The descent is not collapse. The alchemist who descends into the Negrido is not undone by what they find. They are clarified by it. To face the refused quality in yourself is not the same as becoming it. It is the first step toward choosing it consciously on your own terms. The alchemists called the black phase Negrido. It was not the failure of the work. It was the beginning. The prima materia had to be confronted in its darkest state before it could become anything else. Gold was not made from gold. It was made from light that had been fully seen. The practice is simpler than the fear of it. When a violent aversion seizes you, you ask one question inward: where does this live in me, unnamed? You do not analyze it. You do not judge it. You name it. The act of naming is the first withdrawal of its autonomous power. The principle of polarity gives you the instrument. Cruelty and discernment are not opposites. They are the same capacity at different intensities. The cruelty you buried is not evil to be eradicated. It is a precise, sharp attention that was misdirected. Reclaimed, it becomes the finest discernment you have ever had. The cowardice you would not name is not weakness to destroy. It is the body's intelligence about genuine danger, buried so far below awareness that it could not be used consciously. Reclaimed and named, cowardice becomes the capacity to know when not to act. That is not weakness. That is discernment of a different kind. The arrogance you condemned in others and refused in yourself was not pride to be destroyed. It was an unmet need for sovereignty, driven below because it was punished. Arrogance reclaimed becomes confidence. Not the brittle confidence of performance. The settled confidence of a person who has met their own capacity and named it. Every quality the principle of polarity governs can be moved along the spectrum between its poles. Not destroyed, relocated. What you refused was never the enemy. The exile was. The quality brought into conscious awareness and named free of judgment becomes the precise tool for which you have been searching your whole life. Jung named this process individuation. Not self-improvement, not becoming a kinder, more palatable version of what you already were. Individuation is the completion of the self. It is the integration of every quality you refused, every capacity you exiled, into a conscious wholeness that can choose how to direct what it contains. This is not the end of struggle. It is the end of the war you have been fighting with yourself. The refused self, integrated and named, ceases to govern from below. It becomes available. A capacity, a precision. The person who has descended into their own depths and returned carries something ordinary life cannot give. The alchemists never described the philosopher's stone as a substance you could hold in your hand. They described it as something that happens to the person who completes the work. The stone is not found. It is made from the light of what you refused. And it transmutes not the world, but what you bring to it. As above, so below. As within, so without. The principle of correspondence is the oldest of the Hermetic laws. The inner world and the outer world are not separate systems. They are the same system, observed from different positions. The person who has not done the inner work projects their refused qualities onto the world. They do not know they are doing it. The quality they buried becomes a lens through which all light passes. They see it everywhere. They react to it everywhere. They cannot see that they are looking at themselves. The correspondence gives you a navigation instrument. Every time the world provokes a reaction that feels larger than the event, look inward. The excess charge is not coming from the world. It is coming from what has not yet been named in you. That is the signal. That is where the work continues. The stone gives back what projection took away, your perception. Not the perception of a serene person. The perception of a whole one. And the stone is not a destination. It is a capacity, the capacity to descend again, as needed, into whatever has not yet been integrated.